It just goes to show barbecue can be done at any time of the year. I promise you. Just follow these steps and you'll be fine. Welcome back to the Midlife Ride. My name is Chris. Catherine is behind the camera this morning, and we thought it'd be a really good time to do a new barbecue video. And the reason for that is because it is freezing outside. I think it's going to get up to 19 later. But you know, sometimes you just want some barbecue when it's not ideal outside. And you absolutely can make a excellent pork butt for pulled pork when it's in the dead of winter. Now I have my Traeger grill outside coming up the temperature right now at 225. If you are grilling or smoking when it's cold like this outside, there is one thing you're going to have with a grill like the Traeger. Because the walls of the cook chamber are so thin, I'm using an insulated blanket made by Traeger to help hold in that heat inside the cook chamber. Now I have a buddy of mine up in Wisconsin who says he just throws a welder's blanket over his grill. I cannot speak to whether that's safe or a good idea, but he says it works for him. We are using oak pellets today. The grill is coming up to temperature to 225, which we will leave it set at for the duration of the cook. We also have a water pan out there because it is really cold and dry today, so we want to keep some moisture inside the cook chamber so our meat doesn't dry out. This is a really simple technique for excellent pulled pork. So we have about a 9-pound pork butt here, and all you have to do, first of all, you need a binder. And even though you can use something like olive oil, I just like to use just plain yellow mustard. I think it works really well with the pork. So you just want to get a thin layer of the mustard there on all sides. And I start with the fat side first because that will go down on the grill. I know there's some debate about that, but I like to put the fat side down on the Traeger because it protects it from the heat source. And what we use for the rub is this rib rack seasoning, just the original version, this dry rub. I'll put a link to this in the description below if you'd like to try this out. We really like it, but anyway, you can use whatever you want really. And you just want to apply a nice layer of the rub to all sides. Okay, and then we're just left with our top side. Another thin layer of mustard. And seriously, this is one of the easiest recipes for delicious barbecue you will ever have. One of the things we love about pulled pork is that there's not a lot of prep to do. You don't have to do any trimming. Just take it out of the package, put some mustard on there, throw your rub on there, and you are ready to roll. And if you're gonna go heavy anywhere, I would go heavy there on the top. You really don't have to massage that in. I just give it a nice little pat to get it on there. Okay, we're all rubbed up. Our grill is up to temperature outside. And because I'm not gonna stand out there and talk for a really long time because it is so cold, we're gonna put in there with the fat side down, the bone toward the back of the cook chamber, and we're just gonna let it go for 3 hours, and then we'll go back out and check it. we're about 3 hours into our cook now, and it's actually kind of snowing a little bit still. It's still really cold, still in the teens. But what we're going to do right now is open the lid for the first time. And when you're doing this at any time of the year, you want to make sure you have a purpose behind it so you're not letting out too much heat. So we're going to try to be really quick about this. One thing we're going to do is spray the pork butt with a combination of apple cider vinegar and water just to keep that bark moist and keep it from drying out. And then we're also going to start monitoring the temperature with this temperature probe. We're going to monitor it until it gets to 160 because that's when we're going to wrap the pork butt. It's also a good time to check your pellets to make sure you don't need to refill those because you will be burning through more fuel when it's cold like this. So let's open the lid and see what we have. All right, that is looking pretty good. So let's just spritz it a little bit. I can see it getting a little bit dry there on the top. That has a real nice color to it. And now, I'm going to put the probe in. When you do this, just make sure you're not hitting that bone, because if your probe is hitting the bone, it's going to throw off the temperature. So what I like to do is go right down into the middle, and then pull it back out a little bit. And close it right back up again. So right now we are running at around 109. So maybe 2 to 3 more hours before we start wrapping. But now it's not about time, now it's about temperature. All right, we are almost 6 hours into this cook right now. And we just hit 160 on the thermometer for the internal temperature of the pork butt, and that means it's time to wrap it in foil. We're wrapping now because we want to protect the meat from getting any more smoke. It'll help it cook a little bit faster, but really, we just don't want it to get any more smoke at this point. We just want to finish the cook. So, that is looking really good. So make sure you have either some gloves or use a towel to handle your pork butt right now. I am going to spritz it one more time before we seal it up. And you want to make sure you're using 2 layers of heavy duty foil. Because it is really easy to tear it, and you don't want it to have a hole in it when you wrap it up. It's really that simple. Wrap it up really quick, get it back on the grill, close the lid. I've reset the thermometer to 198. Once it hits 198, we're going to pull it off the grill, take it inside, and let it rest for an hour. 8 hours later, we have a finished pork butt. Now it's been sitting here resting for about an hour, but you know, the general rule is an hour per pound. This is about a 9-pound pork butt, and it still got done in about 8 hours, even with as cold as it was outside. Thanks to that insulation blanket and steady temperatures in the cook chamber, we have a finished product. And now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's open this up and see what we have. And that smells excellent and looks excellent. If you really want to know when it's done, it's when the bone comes out clean, just like that. But really, it all comes down to a taste test. I mean, you can see a little smoke ring there on it. Even though we didn't smoke it for the entire time, it was covered up, you still get that smoke ring on there. So let's try it and see what we have. That is really good pulled pork. It just goes to show Barbecue can be done at any time of the year, I promise you. Just follow these steps and you'll be fine. We're going to finish pulling the rest of this, and then we might eat some of it just as straight up barbecue, but we are definitely going to make some pozole, or pizzole, however you want to say it, because that'll be the perfect thing to warm us up after this cold day. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little notification bell so that you know every time we release a new video. And hey, happy grilling, happy smoking, and above all, happy barbecue. We will see you on the next episode of The Midlife Ride.